What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Timonspodcast. I'm your host, Timon, and this is my podcast. Interesting conversations with cool people, and man, do I have a conversation with you guys today. But first, let's talk about today's sponsor. Quiet River Massage and Revival, located in Syracuse, Indiana, is home of Jasmine. She is an amazing massage therapist. She can remove all stress, all needs that you may have. She's got you covered. She does hot rocks, essential oils, 90, 60, 30-minute massages. You can check her out in the show notes below and also on Instagram, quiet_river_massage. So go check her out, leave her a review, and tell her Timon sent you. She is Timon approved. So, but yeah, today I've got a great conversation. I'm sitting here with my mom. What's up, Mom?
Hi, Timon.
It's Mother's Day coming up here soon, so I said, you know what? I haven't podcasted for a little bit, so let's get Mom on the podcast. So here you are.
Well, thank you.
Welcome. We'll pop. Typically, this is a Momcast. I do the Dadcast. Today is a Momcast.
I can guarantee you it'll be totally different.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about the Bible?
Oh yeah, of the Bible, but.
You know, I'm here for it. So I'm excited. This is going to be good. We've been needing to do this for a while. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, you're my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's more information you want to tell the audience. Is there? Give a little intro to yourself, I guess, maybe.
Okay. I am your mom.
Yeah.
Proud to be.
Yeah.
And thankful. So thankful that you're here.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That is the truth. And thankful that you always have some kind of adventure to keep us going. So
try to keep you guys on your toes of your feet.
Yeah. I am definitely on the toes of my feet.
So yeah, you've been my mom my whole life.
Yes.
So I've got 4 younger siblings. If you haven't seen the Sibcast, you should go check that out. And then you've been married to Dad for 33 years almost.
Will be this year.
Yeah. So God bless you.
Well, he truly has. I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
To be married to a wonderful man.
Yeah.
Dad.
He's a good dude.
I'm going to cry through this whole podcast.
I'd be surprised if you didn't cry.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So it's...
You've never cried in your life?
No, not at all.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, usually, but...
It's good stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's start out with an easy question. Where were you born?
Oh, Columbia City, Indiana.
Yeah. Is that and you grew up in that area, or
grew up in North Manchester?
Yeah.
I think my mom and dad were living in South Whitley at the time, and then they moved to North Manchester.
Yeah. Was that the closest hospital at the time? Was Columbia City?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think Grandma told me that she had almost all of her kids at Columbia City.
Yeah, I think my birth only cost $100.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah, and she probably went and made sure she paid cash beforehand.
Yeah, that's classic Grandma. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another day and age, I guess.
Yeah, different world.
Mm-hmm.
So, born in Columbia City, and how'd you get to Goshen? So, kind of give me the whole. Give me a little bit of the story.
Okay.
From Columbia City.
Okay. Okay, so I grew up in North Manchester, and my growing up years, my dad always told us that he believed we had a great nation, and that he had served in the Air Force playing basketball, but he had served and thought it was important that we serve if we, And so I thought the world of my dad. And so after high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I drove around and went into an Air Force recruiter at the age of 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're just driving and decided to do it?
Once the summer after I graduated.
Wow. Were you working?
I was working, but I also had applied to go to Ball State, thinking I was going to go into nursing. And so it was called delayed enlistment.
Okay.
So I had done that. And so that would have been 1981. I graduated in 1980. And so I talked to the recruiter, and because I was 17, I had to have my mom and dad sign the papers. And I was kind of naive because I went home and I just confessed everything that I had done all the time in high school. And
so when you do stuff in high school, you go home and just confess to?
I didn't, but because I knew I was making a big step, I guess I thought, okay, this is it. They need to know everything.
No way.
So I sat around that table and told them everything and asked if they would sign the papers so I could go into the Air Force.
Wow.
And of course, my dad says, "Oh yeah, we'll be happy to." And my mom, she did too, of course.
Yeah.
But then the day that I left, it was kind of a hard day for everybody. I was excited, but
yeah.
I too was the oldest of 5, and I left 4 siblings at home.
Yeah, all younger.
Yeah. So anyway, so then I went into the Air Force and was in basic training, which was actually, I came from an authoritarian home, so it was actually a piece of cake.
Really?
It was very easy for me. I didn't mind being yelled at, I guess. I don't know all the reasons why, but I remember telling a girl, "Oh, you'll love basic. It's a blast." She goes, I saw her later, and years later, and she said, "I think we went to 2 different basic because it wasn't a blast for me." But I think it was just because I was raised in a house that there was authoritarianism, and also full of adventure, and we were very athletic. Every one of us, my family was. And yeah.
So it wasn't super tough?
Not basic training, no. But I think I was, at that time, I was really looking for purpose in my life. And so here I was serving the country in the 80s under President Reagan, which was just perfect, really. And then there was a Cold War going on at that time with Russia. Mm-hmm. And so they were the enemy, if you will. And so it was a whole new mindset, to serve and be there for our country if we needed to be.
Yeah.
But so then after I went to basic, I went out to California and got stationed there, and that's where I met your dad. And I had a huge conversion experience because as I was having purpose into the military and aware of an enemy, I had grown up in North Manchester, so there was some semblance at that time that there was a God. Mm-hmm. I never doubted that, but I soberly became aware that I was trying to do good, and I couldn't do it always. And then I went to an Air Force chaplain to ask some questions, and he answered them and said, "Why don't you come to a Bible study?" But I had never opened the Bible. So they were thumbing through the Bible. I didn't know how to get to anything. So it was really, but I remember them praying for someone who had just accepted Christ, that they wouldn't be tempted by Satan to, now I know to stray away from God. And that scared me. I just was really afraid. I was aware of all these good things, but the fear of an enemy of God. And so I went back at a lunch hour and talked to the chaplain. And he said, well, God's perfect love casts out fear. And that was done through Jesus Christ on the cross. And all you have to do is ask Jesus to forgive you of your sins. And I didn't have a problem knowing I was a sinner, like I had just confessed to my parents various things, and I just knew I need to ask him for forgiveness. And I did, and I literally, because I'm a crier, because I'm an emotional person, I literally felt him come into my heart. It wasn't something that anybody had to logically explain. I knew I needed him. And then 2 weeks later, I went out to the base that I was at, and that's where a couple months later I met your dad at a barbecue. And he accepted Christ there after that barbecue, I think, or at that barbecue in May. It would have been in May. And so we just served in the military for 4 years, and then I did Air Force Reserves for a while, and then I did Coast Guard Reserves to help myself pay for college. And I graduated from Cal Poly.
Out in California?
Yeah.
So how long were you in then?
I was in 11 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I got out after college. Your dad and I got married, and then I became pregnant with you, and I was still in. And I remember after you were born, I would go for weekend duties.
Really?
But that was during Desert Storm, and both your father and I thought, I mean, in hindsight, maybe if we could have had, we were out there, just the two of us with you. It was a sweet time, really.
Yeah.
We'd put you in a backpack and go hiking in the foothills. That's probably why you love to hike now.
I love hiking.
And we were just in a little apartment. But all that to say, we just decided I didn't need to be away from you.
Yeah. That's tough. Weekends. That is tough.
And then it would have been 2 weeks a year to serve. But I only had 9 more years, and then I could have retired.
Yeah.
But you were well worth spending the time with. So, that's where we're at. And then I married your dad, and we traveled to Denver from there. And you were about 3 months, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 3 months old. And he was going to Denver Seminary for Bibles. His master's in biblical studies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you met Dad pretty early on.
I did.
Didn't date him for a while.
Oh, no. We were just friends.
Yeah.
Friends. He was definitely somebody I could just be myself. He was so quiet. He was such a mystery to me because he just kept it all in.
Really?
And there's not one way that I can keep it all in. And so that was just a big mystery to me.
Yeah.
But I was also praying and asking God, who's my future mate?
Yeah.
God just led us together, which has been really helpful for both of us to know that.
Yeah, you want to tell a little bit about that story, a bit of like how God led you guys together? I know there's a rose.
Yeah, well,
piece of that and some other stuff. So
yeah, well, because I was following the Lord, I just really had decided, and here I was in the military, but I had decided, I was scared to death of relationships because I had seen some very difficult relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just didn't trust myself. And so I pretty much maintained friendships with people without any romantic interest. And I was talking to one friend. I'm like, but I do want to get married. I do want to have children, and I do want to have a family because I love families. I love the family I came from, and I wanted to have a.
Yeah.
I just felt like the only thing our family was all that I came from was the love of Jesus. That's what I felt like we were missing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I wanted to have. And so I was talking to this friend, and he said, well, just ask the Lord, take one thing and say, Lord, I really need you to help me decide who, this will be my clue thing.
Mm-hmm.
That this might be the person I'm to consider marrying.
Yeah.
So a yellow rose means friendship. At least that's what I was told. I haven't ever looked it up. And but I am here to say that I am married to my best friend. I have many great besties, best friend women, but your dad really has stuck by me wonderfully. I don't think anyone would ever do that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I prayed and asked God to this person would show me a yellow rose. We were at Karen and Robert DiNatale, really good friends of ours, wedding. Your father was in the wedding, and they had flown off in an airplane after getting married.
Oh.
Yeah, and your dad saw me, and he handed me his lapel rose, and it was a yellow rose. And when he handed it to me, I literally looked at him and thought, are you kidding me? I really did. I was like, oh my gosh. And I just walked away, and I thought, and then he was off and I was off, and that if you're going to, you got to do something, God, there's no way. We were at two different schools. He was at UC Davis studying, and I was like 6 hours away. And, but slowly, God just seemed to be working in his heart through a variety of situations, and mine as well. And we met up at a conference, and I don't like the mountains. It was called the Kingdom of God.
Mm.
And so it's all the college students would go to this conference, and we went, and he had gone out. I had heard he was there, and he had gone out for a walk. And he had said, well, God, if you want me to talk to Jiva about more than just friendship, she'll be out here. And at that moment, I walked around, and unbeknownst to me, I said, hey, Jay. And sure enough, we walked the whole route again that he had just walked. And your dad, he didn't rush into, the situation. He said, how you doing? Went on. And when we got towards the end, he said, Shiva, I think you're a woman that I would like to marry, though I'm not emotionally involved with you. And so I'm like, okay. And then we walked a little further because it was getting dusk. We were in this mountain area with these evergreen trees and snow. It was, like I said, February. And the snow was lightly falling. It could not have been more romantic. I'm like, God set us up. Your dad was clueless, but I wasn't. I was like, I said, now, what do you really mean? And he looked into my eyes. He said, I think I could marry you. I think I could fall in love with you. And he turned around and walked in to eat. And sat across from me at the table, and I sat there, and I think that's probably the only time I really couldn't eat anything. I just kept looking, and I'm like, is this it? Is this happening? So, needless to say, it did happen. Yeah. It's good to remember.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Yeah.
all God. And your dad then came back. I went to a summer, and your dad went to my house. And met my dad and my brother. And I had asked him to ask my brother, Matt. And interestingly enough, my brother Matt's middle name is Jay.
No, really?
Just the letter J.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And then here I am marrying a J, and I never put it together till, a while later. But, yeah, I had asked them to, Jay, your dad, to ask them about marrying, and both of them said, if you want her, you can have her. And
sounds about right.
Both of them. I'm sure it wasn't quite that simple, but
probably not that nice.
But they have both really loved your dad and cared well. I think they really do.
Yeah,
and see the value in him.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That brings us, back around.
So then you guys moved to Denver.
Yes.
So I was born, moved to Denver.
Right.
You lived in Denver for a while.
Right. About a year and a half. But the sad thing is when we moved there, 3 weeks after we moved there, your dad's biological father passed away. But your dad was the only living heir. And so he handled the whole estate and affairs. It was,
That's a lot, I'm sure.
It was. It was a big adjustment because we were going with the expectation of getting to know him better. Mm-hmm.
He passed away.
Yeah. But the good thing is for you are the only child that he really gave his blessing to your grandpa son.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Lots of nice little silver linings in every situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were there for a while and then headed east.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We would always come and visit here for various things. And one time we came and we went to Grace College and liked the campus, and so we thought we might transfer here. But when we got here, I was pregnant for your sister Odessa, and I think your dad felt that he needed to get a job and take care of his family.
Yeah.
Though he only had a little bit more to finish, but he doesn't like debt, and so he didn't finish. And So he said he was in God's seminary, not man's.
Yeah. Probably better for him.
I think in the long run it worked out well. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you moved to Warsaw, right?
Mm-hmm. That's where we were living at then. And both of us in one day had a devotion. There's 2 places in the Bible that speak of the land of Goshen.
Yeah.
He had one in one spot. I had one in the other. And we came back together and we were talking. I said, I was reading about the land of Goshen. He goes, I was too.
Oh, wow.
And we don't usually think alike.
Come to agreement that easily.
Right.
Yeah.
So we knew this is God in our midst, that we were to move to Goshen. And so we did. And yeah.
Been there ever since.
Right. Here we are.
Yeah. You lived downtown for a little while, and then you moved out kind of to the outskirts.
Correct.
Yeah.
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 I don't remember how long in downtown, but I know Johanan was born, and he's 22 at the house that we're at now.
So I was going to say, I think we moved in 99 or 2000.
Mm-hmm.
It was like right around then.
Yeah.
So
I'm not, and we had moved. So we were only there 5 years. 99, because we came here when Hadassah was born, 94.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday, but I know it was a while ago.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Yeah.
And now you're downtown.
Yeah.
And now
You get to relive the downtown vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand.
It's kinda fun.
You get to walk everywhere.
I remember growing up and you're like, I miss walking everywhere.
I loved it.
It was nice because you could go to a lot. There's a park right down the road and all that stuff.
Ride bikes with a bike, trailer on.
I remember riding bikes. Yeah, but you can do that now here. So
it's nice.
It's kind of exciting.
And they fixed it up a lot more too. Lots more bike trails and
a lot more opportunities. Mm-hmm. What do you think of Goshen when you moved here? If you remember back to that.
Well, one specific thing, which is very interesting, is that out in California, we had all kinds of coffee shops. And even when we moved to Denver, there was lots of coffee shops. And so when we moved here, the only coffee shops, your dad tells this story really well, but I'll try to kind of give you a little snippet of it. And that is that there was a 7-Eleven, and that was the coffee shop.
Wow.
But then the electric brew opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't owned by Myron and Dana. It was owned by another young couple from Oregon. They had moved here. And I'm sorry I can't remember their names. But it was the only one in the whole. I'm like, oh, gosh, we should have
jumped on that then.
Yeah, because we totally loved coffee and just very interesting. And the other kind of nostalgia of Goshen is, which your dad to this day really loves, is the excuse me, it's a cafe, and I think we could walk to it from here down to 7th Street.
Oh.
You remember the
Southside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Southside Cafe.
Southside Soda Shop. That
Soda
place.
Shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really enjoyed that too.
Yeah. That is a hot spot. What was a hot spot still is a hot spot for us.
That's cool.
Yeah, just because it's part of Goshen. So those were the couple things. The other thing was I had a nurse midwife, Nancy Lowen, and then also, shoot.
That's okay.
There was 2 midwives, and they delivered the rest of the children.
Really? So Alea, Jake, and Johanna? All 3 of them. Wow.
Well, yeah. It was Hadassah was Nancy Lowen.
Okay.
And then I can see her face. Oh, she's just the sweetest. She came to the house after I had the baby. And, I'm sad I can't. But when I don't see people a lot, I forget their name.
Yeah.
And then Joanna and Jacob, one had Nancy and one had
The other lady.
It'll come to me later.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was, all of us were homeschooled. Well, we kind of were schooled and non-homeschooled. It was a blend of non-traditionalism. What was that like coming? Because you weren't homeschooled growing up.
No.
Into public school. So what was that like? Kind of almost pioneering our education a little bit. And why'd you guys make that decision? I'd like to kind of know that. And then also, what was that like? Like now you have to be. Was it kind of a little daunting? Was it kind of exciting? Or what was that all? What was that like?
Well, obviously you were the first one. And both your father and I really, like you well know, value the Bible. And the Bible says that children are a blessing of the Lord. And a man who has a quiver full, he is blessed because he can shoot those arrows in directions. And I'm not saying that we were that aware of which direction y'all would be going. But I do know that all of your names mean something. Again, that's your father's Old Testament, and I value names. And I would say that I've seen the value in all of those two things, that we are blessed because we had you, and you are a gift.
I agree.
Of course. And so that really meant a lot. So once you realize this gift, and that, then there's a verse that that's governed my life. And it's interesting because it's right after, I think it's Hebrews 4:12 that talks about the value of God's word. But this verse 13 says, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight, but everything is uncovered and laid bare before him, to whom we have to give account. And I believe that's true. I took it to heart. And so I knew before God I was responsible to help protect your children, your dad particularly, protect, provide, and also to nurture you in the fear of God. And fear meaning a deep respect. Because if you respect something, you're not afraid of it. You just, with God, give him room. You give him room in your heart, in your mind,
in your life.
In your life.
Yeah.
And he's a gentleman, but you respect him. You don't mess around with him.
Yeah.
But he's not only man, he's God.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Yeah.
But my point is, so because of that, I earnestly wanted you to know God's word, because really I believe all academics start with him. He created. I really believe he created everything. I believe he understands the smallest molecule. He understands DNA. And I wish I could reiterate. Somebody said that there's even just so many things scientifically that prove that he's involved. So science, English, the whole Bible I just found out is I'm learning, and it's I wish I could remember it, but it's like it's in a poetic form.
Oh yeah,
It's like ABs.
chiasm.
Yeah, it's like
Chiasmatic.
charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
It's a mirror.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so you read it, and it comes to a point, and then you read it back to the same point. Yeah, it's very
so
poetic.
thank you, because that there's just, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
the
Book of Revelation is to a point, and then it comes back. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So
they do that a lot.
Yeah. So it's just that, and that's the whole thing too. You want to cultivate a love of learning.
Yeah.
You want to be able to use your mind, your body, your whole being, and know what facilitates that. So anyway, that's probably why we did it. Your dad kind of wanted me to really focus on academics, so I really didn't know. I did it because of spiritual reasons. Like, I wanted you to know that you could talk to God about anything. I wanted you to know that we read our Bible because we got to find out what He's thinking today, and those kinds of things. But your dad also values the academic aspect, so that was helpful too. Once we kind of got. We learn by doing. We don't ever sit down and go, this is the way it's going to go. So that gives us a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. As you experience.
It's okay. It all worked out.
Yeah.
We can read, we can write, we can do math.
I know. Okay. I'm really grateful. However, they were talking about their writing of some of your siblings. And I went, I really wasn't very strict in that.
Yeah.
But they can sign their name.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty common in that generation. Their penmanship is what they're talking
Correct.
about. Like, it looks like chicken scratch, and it's okay. It's all right. But yeah. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered, what that was like, because that's kind of a brand new field that you guys went into, because it wasn't something Dad was a part of. It wasn't really modeled in your family,
right?
And so, yeah.
I think the best outcome, and again, it's not the academics, though. I believe you're all brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was the relationship. Because I really learned to know you children. And that meant a lot to me. Even now, I just, relationship is important.
Yeah.
I value your relationship with each child. And so that means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to spend a lot of time. This is good.
Yeah.
We drove you crazy, I'm sure. Not too much, though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you kind of, I know you worked a little bit when you moved to Goshen. I remember memories of that. But for the most part, you were kind of stay at home with the family.
Yeah. I preferred that just because it just helps me. But you have financial needs, so yeah. I've always worked. It isn't that I'm afraid to work; it's that the balance is quite challenging, probably, as you well know, because you value your family.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, this culture doesn't allow you the privilege to value your family.
Yeah,
you have to really work at it.
Yeah.
So. I would get odd and end jobs, and so then, but I did like being at home because, you learn a lot just being there.
Yeah.
And so much goes on that even though you're there, that you don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah, when you got 5 young ones running around, yeah, it gets exciting. Yeah. Those are my questions. I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about.
I guess I just, yeah, I think in today's society, you really need mother and fathers. I was just in Bible study yesterday, and somebody made this keen observation that an orphan is basically the like Hebrew word. It shows that fatherless is how they name an orphan. So you think about that, and it's just, and you can't necessarily be a mother without a father. I know some people made.
There has to be someone who, at least a donor.
Yeah. So God created it that way.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know who made Mother's Day or Father's Day, but really can't have one without the other. And that's important for today. And it seems so simple, but it really is such a simple truth that a child needs both.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. They need both. I say that with Noah. It's interesting. It's like, I think it's crazy how much you feel like the tear of just everything coming against you to break that bond apart, just because it is such an important thing.
Right.
It's work to stay together.
Yeah. And it's well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's not for somebody thinking. You can't go in just thinking it's.
Supposed to give us a try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got to mean what you say. If you make a vow, you keep it. Yeah. Till whatever you vowed. I've personally gone back to my vows, not because of anything about your father, but because there are times you just need to know. What I did in the Air Force is I taught aircrew members. I'm segueing into a point.
Okay. Go for it.
But sometimes your dad can't.
He's quiet. He's a mystery.
But I got the point is, see, that's what your dad says. Get to the point. So the point is,
no, you taught aircrew members what?
Yeah, I taught.
I want to hear this story. Go for it.
I taught aircrew members about emergency procedures, and we were at a navigator. I was in the air training command at the space, and so I taught the navigators of most of the military. The first part, they were in training, so we taught them fundamental survival skills like ejection seat, how to egress, how to get out of a 747, and oxygen. You go above 10,000 feet, you need oxygen. There's just cabin pressurization, all this. Okay, but one thing that we taught them that I will never forget is that they gave an illustration of a pilot who had to get out of the aircraft. And when he parachuted out, you have all this survival gear in your chute. And sometimes you land and it's with you, but sometimes it isn't, depending on the scenario. But the point is that one pilot, they gave the example, had everything in his parachute that he needed, but he didn't have the will to survive. He kind of mentally clammed up, probably fear. And the one who didn't have everything and survived was because he had the will to survive.
Wow.
And for some reason, that has always stuck with me. Because you can say, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. Doesn't matter. You have everything you need in the will to survive, in the determination, and especially if you know Jesus. There's a promise, your flesh, your heart may fail, but God is the strength of your heart. He's your portion. And in my book, there's no excuse. You have to lean into him. So I would say for everyone that no one is perfect or has it all together. You never will, never. I don't know anyone. But I do know this, that the will to love is the right way to go. Love God, love others. Again, it's important because, like I said, when we go before the God of the universe, I believe we'll be judged on how we loved him and how we loved others.
Yeah.
And I'm forever wanting to learn that. And the greatest opportunity was to learn it in a family. In marriage and with your children.
Yeah.
And that unconditional love that only God can give you, that forgiving love, that grace to let people try and fail or try and succeed, whatever it may be. It's been the best years of my life, I know.
Yeah.
Raising you guys.
So many good memories.
I know. And more to come, I trust. And it's been a privilege to have a grandchild. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because you're in the new phase.
Yeah.
You've been watching Noah, which has been so much fun.
Oh, yeah. That's where it's a fundamental principle, again, is that's where I found, like surely goodness and mercy will follow all the days of our lives. We can dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And I realized this is how God's love is passed. Like, he came into my heart. I love you guys. I tell you about Jesus. That's my privilege. You have the right to receive, or, all of you have received Christ. And now little Noah has a whole nother generation. She has the privilege of learning. That's how it's passed. What a privilege we have. Multi-generational work. It's beautiful.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's the way God wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
He's very family focused. I love it. Yeah, family's very important.
Yeah, it really has been very important. But a family built on Christ will stand.
Yeah.
There are storms, as we have experienced, but we'll stand.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Thank you, Tim.
yeah.
I was afraid I wouldn't say anything.
You did good. There's tons more to say, but I appreciate your outgoingness. I appreciate just your love and the emotional side you bring to our family in such a good way. And I appreciate your amazing ability to host. You're such a great host when you get things done. You make everyone feel comfortable, and I've received a lot of that benefit. And so I can, when I'm having people over, I'm just flowing in whatever my mom taught me, and I love that. So, and there's been so many people that have said that when they come into my house, they feel very welcomed.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, that comes from my mom.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And so I appreciate all those things. And there's a billion other things more, and just the input you're putting into my child. I love that.
Well, let's hope it's all good.
It can only be good. I turned out okay. So
Yes, you did.
she'll turn out okay too. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
So thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate you.
There we
inviting
go.
me.
We did it.
Very privileged.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me such a happy mom.
Oh yeah, for sure. And well, guys, we'll catch you on the next Timonspodcast. Peace.